Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Gateway ParaTalk. Tonight we have the pleasure of having very special guests, Connie and Dan LaFave, owners of the Olde Park Hotel. Tonight we'll discuss with Connie and Dan about some of their personal experiences they have had since they owned the hotel. So without further ado, let's welcome Connie and Dan to the show.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how you
Hi,
doing?
Scott. Thanks for having us.
Sure. Happy to have you. See, I thought a little bit easier than I had written before, so it's your guys' job to fill in all this.
Oh, no problem. Just point and talk. We're good.
All right, do you want to start kind of with the history? You guys will talk about
Sure.
this
Yeah.
also.
Let's go back in time, shall we?
Okay.
Let's talk about just the history of the hotel first, I guess,
Yep, sounds fun.
because that seems to be the gist of this. Um, so back in 1886, the town of Ballinger was got a new name, and it used to be Hutchins. The benefactor William Pitt Ballinger was a judge, and because he donated money, a large sum, and other reasons, they decided to honor him and give the town the name of Ballinger. So the
Huh.
town was incorporated in about 1886. June 29th, 1886 was when thousands of people came together and gathered on the lot right outside of the courthouse. And they were doing so because there was a proclamation issued out in the area that the three railroads were merging. It was Santa Fe, Gulf, and Colorado. And as they were merging, they were looking for new spots. One of the spots they looked at was Reynolds County. They waited too long on the bid, and they walked right past it and went to Ballinger because of the water supply. It was just better. So Reynolds County, or Reynolds City, became a ghost town, and Ballinger became incorporated at that point as the new county seat. So on that day, on June 29th, thousands of people, mostly they were all single white men, came together on the lawn to purchase lots, and they sold over half of them in the first day. And then little things started springing up all over town. If you look back at the postcards and you look back at the things, the history that they put up on sites, you can see how it slowly molded itself into a railroad town. They had the cotton gins right outside of Ballinger, and of course it passes through right on the outside of Rowena, 8 miles away, and then on the other side of that you have Miles, Texas. So, and then if you pass through Ballinger, you'll run into other cities like Abilene. San Angelo is located on the other side, 30 minutes. And so when Dan and I first learned about the hotel, we were told that it had over 30 spirits, and we can definitely vouch that it's got a lot. The hotel, we think, was a schoolhouse briefly at the beginning, and we know that because we found a book, a slip from a book, that talked about how some of the old timers remembered walking out of the courthouse and seeing the house that was there that people used to go to that may have been the first school. So, and then of course we know it was a meeting house and a boarding house. It was also a brothel, at least twice that we know of, maybe more. We pegged that date around 1918, 1920, somewhere in there, right before the Keel family took over. It was also just a very rough town, and a lot of outlaws passed through that town. So when 1918 or 1914 came around, we had the family, the first big family that seated itself as owners of the hotel. They were Washington Hampton Seacrest II and his wife Minnie, and they had 11 children. Out of those
Wow.
11 children, some of them stayed and some of them went. 4 or 5, I believe 5 of the girls stayed, and there was about 3 boys. Washington Hampton Seacrest II was the son of a man, Washington Hampton Seacrest, who was a Confederate soldier. And when he survived the war, he became a Texas Ranger, went down south, and pursued Santa Anna, brought him in on handcuffs. And his son moved down probably in 1914, we think, because we have records to show the names of the hotel, being the Seacrest Hotel, and then the Three Sisters, and then
Mm.
the Royal Hotel in 1914. And 6 months later in the same year, it became the Park Hotel. So Washington Hampton Seacrest II, when they moved down from Nebraska, they seated themselves there. So in 1918, in between, you have lots of owners, you have lots of things going on in town, outlaws raising all kinds of ruckus. And in 1918, an owner by the name of Mrs. Mrs. Jack Roach owned the place briefly for about a year. We think that was when it was a brothel. Then she passed it to another woman with her son, Mrs. J.B. Rhodes, with her son Dennis. And in between that time, it shuffled hands into the Keel family. The Keel family also had a large family. Willie was already, the oldest, was already had a family, so he didn't move in with them. 2 boys and 5 girls moved in. So their names were Gertrude, Lola, Iona, Helen, and Jenny. And then the boys were Pruitt, Tex, Keel, and Rice Marriott Keel. So they all had kids and families that also moved in. So basically, you have this big family, and then they didn't let it go they went on for 5 generations, owning it off and on. They kept reacquiring it. The one we have to pay attention to is Iona Keel. Iona Keel was married to Mr. Cullen, Robert Cullen. They had 1 child, and her name was Juanita. Juanita is the one that gave birth to 4 kids. One of them was Jeanette. And Jeanette is the one we purchased it from in 2016.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of gives you it's a long history. There are many owners. We can't even, the Dunn family owned it briefly. We'll tell you about the clock later. I'm sure Dan wants to tell you about the outlaws that were there in town. So that kind of gives you an idea.
Now, do you still do research today, try to find back even further, or do you have everything you could find so far?
Many, many more hours of research to go.
Yeah.
We don't even know the surface of what we have. We went and looked up the plat records and the survey records, and we discovered some of the first people that used to own the building. A man by the name of Weeks, who we know was a school teacher. So that kind of confirms that a school teacher lived there briefly. Overby, a guy named Overby owned the place briefly. There were just countless other people that owned it. And Juanita Keel kept repurchasing the family's place. I think she owned it in 2012. And then Jeanette acquired it in 2015 or 16. Or no, it was before that. So it's just all over the place with the history. We're still learning stuff every day.
Wow.
But the cool thing about it is we keep finding these new stories. We keep finding out things that happened in town. And so it's really interesting to learn about what was going on in town as this hotel was springing up. And I can't imagine all the people that have come through there. We had 5 sets of outlaws that lived in or around the area. The first was the Newton boys. I'm sure you've heard of them. They robbed a lot of stagecoach robberies.
Yeah.
And I believe Matthew McConaughey did a movie on that, which I haven't even seen. I'm going to watch it. You had Sam Bass. I don't know a lot about Sam Bass because I haven't memorized all the stuff yet. But he was a bad dude. Then you have Jim Miller, the killer. He was probably the worst out of all of them. Dan will tell you about him in a minute. And he was married to Sally, who was the sister of a guy named Manny Clemens. And Manny Clemens was a bad dude also, and he lived right there in town. He had a cousin named John Wesley Harden, and the Harden family still lives there today and tells us about their ancestors. But the 3 of them were related. So Dan loves the shotgun story. I think Dan should tell you the shotgun story.
I think you start getting left to do another book, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Outlaws, it's interesting because when we bought the hotel, we were digging up research on it. And the guys who actually found out about the Outlaws were the Kling brothers who were on the show Ghost Lab. Brad Kling was on the same paranormal team with us years ago. And when we bought the hotel, him and Barry We're trying to get another show on television, and it was strange. It was called Strange Curiosity, and they actually
Oh,
filmed the whole episode at the hotel right after we bought the
I remember
place.
that. Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, and they dug up a lot of stuff, and it really has just taken off. And Jim Miller went by the nickname of Deacon, and basically he carried a double-barreled shotgun. That was his choice weapon, and he was probably said to have rumored to have killed about 200 something people, including his own
Wow.
grandparents when he was a teenage boy, and also killing an uncle, I believe. And it was always by shotgun, so they knew whenever things were taking place. You can tell when somebody's
Well,
shot with a shotgun.
how did you wait it so long?
What again?
How did you wait that for so long?
Basically, he had alibis. His nickname was Deacon for a reason. It's because he had two personas. One of them was basically dressed as a churchman. On Sunday, he would go in and give sermons every Sunday. So everybody in town, every time he got connected to something, everybody was like, this man couldn't possibly be doing stuff. He's a man of God, which is very ironic. So he would always get off. And everybody knew he was doing it. That's the funny thing about it. It was just too coincidental. And Manny Clemens got blown away one street over from the hotel in one of the saloons. Marshall came in and they had a confrontation. Manny got shot in the left eye right there at the bar when he went for his gun. And Jim Miller didn't take too kindly to that, because about 5 weeks later, that same Marshall was blown off horseback again by a shotgun just outside Ballinger, and was left for dead but ended up surviving. And right after that, Miller was suspected again, as he always was, and took off. He left Ballinger at that point and went deep into West Texas. Eventually, he got caught in Ada, Oklahoma, with 3 other men, because he was doing bad stuff up there also. And the crowd was finding we're sick of it, and they took all 4 men into a barn, threw ropes up over the rafters, stood them up on pails, tied their hands, and hung them all. And it said before they could get to Miller, he was the last one. He kicked his bucket out from under himself and yelled, "Let her rip." And it said he took his own life. And we feel like he's in the hotel. We feel like Manny's there too. Jim, we call him out by Deacon, and whenever we use Deacon in investigations, it gets really, really ominous. We don't know why they're there. Hardin's there too. Might possibly be maybe they stayed there. Might be because it was a brothel. Maybe they have women there. We really don't know. But it seems to point in that direction that they are there. They're some of the spirits.
The other
If you
Go ahead.
said let rip.
No, not yet. But we do have one other set of outlaws that I forgot to mention. One of the most famous ones, Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie was only born 8 miles from there in Rowena, and of course, when they left, she was young. And they left Texas to go to. Well, they didn't leave Texas. They went to Dallas. They left the area to go to Dallas, but they went through that area, and she was known to come back and forth a lot to see relatives. So we had one guy one time that stepped into the hotel that we've never met. He was a much older man, and he told us. I remember when I worked at the Olde Park or at the Park Hotel, we were like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I remember when I stepped outside and I looked up and I saw their car and it was just full of bullet holes." And they stepped out and everybody was really surprised. The thing about Bonnie and Clyde that people don't realize is they were very flamboyant. They were just out there for everybody to see, on the run from place to place, just doing whatever they wanted. So it's very feasible that they saw them. They could have even stayed at the hotel. We do have relatives of Bonnie's that said that, that they think she came through the area and she could have stayed there. So, it's always a possibility that all of this, especially Manny Clemens, because he was known to be only one street over. That's where he died. One street over. So it was a hotel for many times. Um, when it stopped being the Park Hotel and went to the Old Park Hotel is when they annexed the park. They annexed the park. It was just the park, and then it became the Old Park. And
Oh,
so
okay.
in the two, I don't know what year specifically, but Jeanette at some point started calling it the Old Park Hotel. When we bought it, it was just an antique store,
Oh,
and we
really?
revived the name. Yeah, it was just said antiques, and we revived the name the Old Park Hotel because we love the significance of it.
Mhm.
And I guess it just got branded that, and it just stayed there since. And it suits the place, I think, the Old Park Hotel.
The other funny thing is we found an old sign in between the buildings from years ago, and I don't know why they
Mhm.
put it outside. It kind of deteriorated. I ended up bringing it in, but it's in pretty bad shape. But it says Old Park Hotel on it, the same spelling that we use.
He called me one day after it had rained. He said, "Hey, you're never going to know what I just found." I said, "What?" He said, "Found a sign." I was like, "Really? What kind of sign?" Is like, it says Old Park Hotel, $33 or something like that, $35 a room. And I was like, "You got to save it. You got to bring it." He's like, "But it's big." I said, "I don't care. Bring it in." It's like as big as a wall almost. It must have gone up on the front. That would be so cool to see that up on the front. But
Was that the
as
one?
we,
Was that the
uh
one I put in the newsletter? The gold one? That's.
no, Shannon, our friend Shannon actually donated that when she had a masquerade party.
Oh,
We
okay.
loved it so much she let us keep it, and it's just kind of part of the place now. St. Shannon's Rogers, so we love her very much. We love all the people that come through the old park because it's no longer just our place; it's their place too. And they add things and they leave things. Their shirts go up on our wall of fame and they leave their mark there, and everybody just keeps adding to it. We have this huge wall in the presentation room that's just keeps growing, and we're running out of places to put the shirts. But
Yeah,
we
I've
think we're
been
going to pull the movie screen up and stick them back behind there.
every place I've been going to the last few years. I get a T-shirt from the place. So I got my Hinsdale shirt.
There you
Oh, there
go.
you go.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
Dan's
to
been to the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah,
get you one of ours
we
sometime.
did a weekend investigation last year.
Yeah,
We stayed over. It was cool.
Yeah,
Dan
I
and
want
I.
to. Oh, go ahead,
I
Connie.
was gonna. I was just gonna add something real quick when he said they went and visited. Dan and I have been working so much on the Old Park Hotel. We have not gotten a chance to go to all these other beautiful locations of our friends, and we can't wait till the day comes where we have the time to get an RV and go to their places and give back to
Um,
them
I
because
love
they do
Dan.
so much for
Dan's
us.
cool. I like him.
They do so much for us. I haven't got to see
Yeah.
the Hinsdale house, but I met Dan. I haven't
Mhm.
got to see uh, a lot of these places, but we've talked to the people and we love them, and we just can't wait to contribute back to their places.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff out there.
Yes.
I'll have some stuff to use to look at and
I did. What I was going to say was when I filmed Paranormal 911 on Travel Channel, I flew into Buffalo to film, and I didn't realize till after I left how close I was to the Hinsdale
oh
house.
oh
And I pretty much kicked myself. I wish, because it
yeah
was during the summer, I could easily gone over there to check it out.
yeah he had some. Do you see what happened to it?
Yeah.
Had the some ice over inside due to that.
What was that?
Didn't hear about what happened to Dan's place.
No. What happened to Dan's place?
So the faucets were on or something,
Yes.
and
Oh
then
no.
Yeah.
and
Somebody
then
in the basement, I believe, left something on.
yeah,
Oh
and they
no.
iced over other place. It took forever to get
Uh,
cleaned up.
We just fixed 3 busts just from last weekend. Last year we had 8 pipes burst
Uh,
after the winter storm in Texas, and we are so thankful to our friends for just being there to help us. Uh, Jonathan Smith and Kelly Book and his family and his friends. I can't tell you how much we appreciate them. They're just great people.
This year has been really bad because up in New York, I think with wind chills, like -10, -16 up there.
Yeah, ooh, that's bad.
And then
Yeah.
right here in Ohio, sometimes it gets a -2.
I hope
So
everybody in the paranormal community can come together and just kind of help out those places like
yeah,
Winslow House.
they did a thing there nights on the raising money for Dan's. Hey, and
That's
you
good.
go
Yeah,
on
I've
to
donated too. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, you just Patreon too. Yeah, you can do Patreon too.
It,
Yeah,
it, it's sad when things like that happen.
yeah.
We panicked again when we lost Pipes this past weekend. Um, we're just thankful for friends, just like I know Dan is too. Because when everybody jumps in and helps, you can get things done pretty
Right.
fast. Because we have groups like every weekend, and it's hard to fit these repairs in.
Right.
So I guess we could tell you a little bit about where we came from. Dan,
Okay.
you want to tell them a little bit about your past?
Yeah, I started basically exploring the paranormal little close to 30 years ago. And that was the basis of my story for Paranormal 911. Back when I was in the Air Force, had a very extreme experience. And back in those days, the paranormal wasn't talked about the way that it is now.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't think the word was even used, paranormal. It was called supernatural. And there were just a few TV shows out at the time, so nobody really knew what it was. And it was a very taboo subject at the time. So when I had my experience many, many years ago, it wasn't like we had people to go talk to figure out
Right.
what it was we experienced. And the Air Force was like, you're not going to talk about this story, which was very crazy to us because we had a very phenomenal experience. She was captured on camera walking through a fence that we actually saw. And I held this in for years. So when I had the opportunity to tell that story, it opened up a lot of doors for me. And that's what got me going years ago. I just had to find out more. I had to figure out, because again, there weren't TV shows out there telling you how to do this. Ghost Hunters didn't come out to 2004, so it was way before that.
Yep.
So I was reading every book on the subject that I possibly could. Hans Holzer was some of the original books.
I realized stuff.
The Warrens, I was reading a lot of stuff about them. And I was just kind of going out there and just kind of winging it. And years ago, that's how I came across the Black Swan Inn. Good friend Joe Rivera in San Antonio owns that. It's been on television as well. Started investigating her place, started investigating a lot of different places way back then. And it just kind of set me on a road. And went from being an individual investigator to eventually being on lead investigator on different paranormal teams. That's how I met Connie. We were on a TAPS family member team, which was under the Ghost Hunters show at the time. And that's how I met Connie, through the paranormal. And we got to know each other, and one thing led to another. And we've been married for several years now. And we formed our own team, Graveyard Ship Paranormal Investigations, years back. And we did a lot. We really did. We did probably 4 investigations a month. We were all over the place.
No, that's the way where we started.
Yeah. And, one thing led to another. In 2015, we bought the hotel, or 2016.
Yeah.
And here we are now.
Awesome.
So I'm also a veteran. I'm an Army veteran. I was in intelligence. I was a military intelligence analyst for 6 years in the Army. I started out in Munich, Germany, did 4 years there. And then I went to Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia, and did a couple years there. Served time during the Cold War, Desert Storm, Kuwait, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then I got out in 96. I was going through divorce at the time. So I was in San Antonio, and that's where I met Dan. I was going to school at the time at UTSA, He was an insurance guy, and we both had paralegal experience. I was a paralegal for 5 years. And when I met him, we were both kind of in the same place. And it was about 2006 that I met him, 7.
Yeah.
And we went on our first date in December. But he had already had me investigating by the end of that month. I had always wanted to be in the paranormal. I just didn't know how. And I had my first experience when I was only 5 years old. I was laying on a bed with my grandmother and my sister. We were sleeping, and I like to turn over and place my stomach on the, down and put my arm in between the wall and the bed. That's my favorite. Well, not anymore, but it was my favorite spot. So I had rolled over and put my hand in between the wall, and something had grabbed me. It was cold, and I could feel the fingernails, and it was long fingers. And it just grabbed me and just started trying to yank me through the wall. Well, of course, I'm solid object. I'm not going through a wall. So my head's banging up against the wall several times before I just let out a rip-roaring scream, and it finally lets go. And that's when I topple over my grandmother and my sister. Now, I wasn't asleep. I was awake, and I just was readjusting. But to have something like that happen to you at such a young age is traumatic. And I never really pursued it much until I started really saying, you know what, I'm going to explore the paranormal. And it was in 2007 that Dan is the one that taught me the ropes. We were on a team called After Dark. We went from After Dark to the TAPS family team called San Antonio Paranormal Network. And then after we left Sapin, it's funny is because we met Brad Kling on that team. Dan was the lead investigator. I was the lead researcher. And Brad had just came onto the team, and then he had left, and then we left after that. So Brad left to go do the Discovery Channel thing, the Ghost Lab, and then we went our way. I took a job as a teacher, first job as a teacher, down in Harlingen, Texas. And that is where we got our start with Graveyard Shift, Paranormal Investigations. We formed a team, and we were all different ethnicities, a lot of Latinos and whites, and we just all came together and just learned from each other. Loved each other so much. And still to this day, we keep talking to a lot of our friends who we miss very dearly, but we're still Graveyard Shift. We'll always be Graveyard Shift, but we've moved on and we're doing other things now. Because when you own a hotel, you can't just stop and say, I'm going to go investigate private houses again.
Right.
We would love to do that. And maybe we can get back to that eventually. And that's what we want to do. We want to get an RV. We want to take some time off and keep the hotel going, but get back into investigation again because we really loved it. So that's how we formed our team. We had a brief stunt in 2010 with a possible TV show called Ghost Riders. And that was going to be produced by Baby Jake Media in New York. It didn't go through. And we just went our separate ways and continued with life. Dan eventually got his degree, and now he has a master's. He got his bachelor's degree in
Congratulations.
Yep, he has a bachelor's degree in business and a master's degree in principles of education. I have a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies and a major in English. And I have an associate's degree in English. And I just got a packet to look into going to law school online. So we are very busy, but we still have the hotel. Yeah, we still have the hotel. And we think with our research over the years, we have kind of come up with our own way of investigating. We work well as a team. He taught me everything I know, and then I learned my own and added to it. I'm more of the analyst. I'm the skeptic. He's more of the feeler and very good at just running the show, just everything else. If it's technical, Dan can do it. If it's analysis, Dan can do it. If it's setting up a camera, Dan can do it. But if it's picking apart the pieces and trying to figure out what happened, that's what I do.
All right.
So together we just kind of compensate for what we're weak at, and we've been a great team.
Yeah, my team's been good for the last 10 years about.
Yep.
And we go on great. We go out to these investigations. We just know what are thinking, and we already know how to set stuff up, and then you get a feel for it when working with the same people. It's awesome.
A lot of troubleshooting. Why isn't this stupid camera not coming on? Go
Things
check
like-
the power. Did we plug it in?
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think
So-
that's what we like about the hotel too, because so many different people come in, so many different paranormal teams. Some of them have been around a long time, some of them are new. A lot of times we just get together and we talk about the phenomena in the hotel all together, trying to figure it out. And that's probably the best part of owning a haunted building like that, is you just constantly research it and try to find answers. Not too long ago, Nick Roth was in the hotel
Cool.
and coming out a new episode of Death Walker, which is going to debut, pretty soon in the U.S.
I'll be able to see it.
Yeah, and people who have never seen the hotel are going to see a whole other side to it. Because Nick goes pretty deep in this show, and he got a lot of stuff out of the building.
We were also on Fright Club with Jack Osborne and the Ghost Brothers. We were in shock when that happened because the producer just contacted us. We didn't even know who the guy was. We were just like, oh, yeah, nice. And they set us up at the hotel. We didn't know who we were going to be talking to. They just popped Jack Osborne. We're like, what? And the Ghost Brothers. We're just like, he's like, that's the Ghost Brothers. And I was like, that's Jack Osborne. That's kind of how the conversation went.
That'd be pretty cool.
It was fun. Yeah.
Jack's a character.
It was just a brief stint on Fright Club. It was fun.
Right.
But the Death Walkers is a whole episode, and Dan and I are on that with Nick, and he's a great
I'm
guy.
looking forward to it.
His brother Justin's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, Nick is awesome, and Justin, they're great people. They really are.
Very professional and hardworking.
That's still be on Paraflix, right?
Yeah, well,
or Discovery Plus.
I don't know if it'll be on Paraflix, but it'll be on Discovery.
Well, basically, I know a lot of stuff is popping up on Paraflix with Natalie, and you had Natalie on not too long ago. They're getting ready to announce a lot of stuff on Deathwalker as far as the U.S. release, so a lot of stuff coming.
Well, it might be a little issue between Discovery Plus and Paraflix.
Dan and I were just talking about him and I are going to do a documentary in the hotel as well. Tell our whole story from beginning to end, and that'll be fun to do. He's written 3 books, so this is kind of a follow-up to the last book, The Spirits of the Olde Park Hotel. So
you can do a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's an adventure. I think that's what it boils down to. Most of the time, we don't even tell people half the stuff that happens to us. If we did, it'd probably freak a lot of people out.
Right.
Because, it does make you nervous at times. You never get used to it. The craziest part of it is when you're in the building and you're alone and you just hear people walking around upstairs and talking and opening, closing doors. And we have some angry spirits. And they go off sometimes, and that's pretty freaky. Slamming doors and walking around and coughing. Oh, my gosh, the things we've seen on camera when we're not there. Yeah. That's the part that just makes me...
That's enough. Knock it off.
It makes me crazy, Scott. We're looking at the cameras, and we hear these noises of someone, like, throwing a fit. Like, all the time, this happens on a regular basis. They're up there at the top of the stairs throwing a fit. You hear the coughing and the grunting and the slamming of things and the doors and the boots, and it's just nuts. Dan and I have come up with some theories of our own as we've been researching the hotel, which we feel like we've learned something as paranormal investigators. For instance, the portal theory. Everybody's always talked about that.
Yeah.
But when you can prove it, that's pretty cool. So one time we weren't even there, and we took a picture and we blew it up. We thought it was weird. And there's a whole group of people standing in the back hallway at the very back. We were like, what is all those people standing there? It was very clear. Why are all those people standing there? It was about 7:30 at night, sunset, July. So what we did was the next month we came up and we set up EMF detectors all the way down the hall, and we waited. We waited for sunset. And when sunset came, we had a period where every EMF meter went off in succession all the way down the hall.
Wow.
So we think there's a portal there, and ghosts are moving through that. and we think they're coming and going at a certain time, and we don't think that they're allowed to stay. If they're allowed to stay, if they don't get through that portal, they get stuck there. And until the portal opens back up, they have to, they have to stay there, because we get different visitors every time we do it. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense. It's just like visiting a hotel. You're coming and going, and the portal's there to kind of shift in and out. And like Dan was saying, we've got some angry dudes that come through too, and they're not fun. But they don't stay very long. They just come through, throw a fit, and then leave.
I have to come down for vacation. It's a long haul for me from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a town driver on that.
Yeah.
I mean, Ballinger was a rough old West place. It looks peaceful now, but back in the days, it was a rough place. I read up a lot on it, and you like to think there's good things with Old West, but there's a lot of bad things. And those types of people, if they're going to be spirits, it's understandable why they're doing the things that they are in the building.
Well, it sounds to be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Yes.
There, so
we have a friend named Chad Lindberg, and he's been up to the hotel, and I'm thinking of him right now because he was telling us a few weeks ago. I think it was a month ago now, when he was up. He said, he's like, I think it's you think it's residual, and we're like, we think it's both, because the residual is happening. You have this occurrence of the same things happening. Mm-hmm. The boots are walking down. Things are occurring at certain times of the days, and then you have the intelligent part. They're literally responding to our EMFs. We're getting class A's all the way through C EVPs, and
it could definitely be both.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. We get full sentences sometimes.
It could be both.
Right.
Yeah.
And a few people have told us that Jim Miller's there, because he said yes, it's the deacon, or yes, it's Jim. So that's why we think he's there, because we the psychics and the EVPs that we're picking up, they correlate. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway.
And a little bit on Chad. He's a good friend of ours now. We met him several years back when he first came to the hotel, and he loves coming back. And for anyone watching that doesn't know who he was in Fast and Furious, and he's done a bunch of different things since, including a show called Ghost Stalkers. And he has a very deep passion for the paranormal. And every time he comes, he walks around and feels out the rooms. And he won't stay in certain rooms. And last time he was here, which was recently, he did the same thing. He was like, I walked in the room with him. He's like, nope, we're going to another room.
And then we've had other people come through too who we adore. Brad and Barry Kling were the first ones ever there, because we knew them very well. We've known them 15 years now. And Brad and Barry have been so busy, they haven't had a chance to come back. They haven't had a chance to come back in a while, but they were the ones that kind of started the overnights for us. We had a local team named Concho Valley Paranormal. And Dylan, our friend Dylan, he was the first person to stay there overnight. And from that point on, we did ghost hunts, and then more and more people heard word of mouth. They started getting legitimate evidence, stuff that you just can't refute, stuff that you've thrown through, hoops to figure out what it is. And so when this keeps happening over and over and again with multiple people, you've got reoccurring paranormal activity that can be measured. Therefore, it's haunted.
Yeah.
So so we just never know what's going to happen at that hotel. We don't know if we're going to walk in. There's been several times that ghosts have thrown pictures down the stairs off the walls, over the banister, like chunk. Wow. We've had apparitions. We've heard boots walking, doors slamming, many, many things caught in pictures, literally people caught in pictures. I haven't seen an apparition myself. Dan has. Yeah, especially the first one.
Yeah. Connie reminded me, we've had from the Ghost Hunters show on A&E, we've had 4 members from their team at the hotel. Mustafa, Kristen, Brian, and Rochelle. And out of those 4, 3 of them had some pretty crazy experiences. Kristen was feeling things. She knew there was something there, but it was an event, so it was kind of hard, for things to jump out. But Mustafa, late at night, we were upstairs in the back, and me and him were standing towards the back. Nobody behind us. Everybody was down the hallway. Pretty late, and Boots started walking up on us.
Oh.
And Mustafa's eyes get really big. It was about midnight. It's pretty late. And he leans over my shoulder into my ear, and he goes, "Dan, this place is legit."
And we also have a lot of equipment. It's funny is we have the old school equipment, but we also have a few new items. Some of it's been refuted. Some people say, "I don't like that equipment," or "I like this," but we're just trying it all because that's how we roll.
Oh yeah.
So we use a lot of ITC devices, and we've got we've got FLIR cams. Those things, those die it's so fast. And then you have the one with the infrared, honey, that moves around, keeps the camera. What's it called? With the motion, with the Xbox thing.
Oh,
SRX.
the Connect.
SLS.
Yes.
I couldn't remember it. We've got the SLS. We've got. I've still got an Ovilus 10 that I use, and from.
I still one of those.
Yep, 14 years ago.
I know they're making me worried.
And we buy things. We love the grids, the green grids, they're motion detectors, because we'll set that up in the back and wait, and it'll just go off. You can't physically see someone walking. Some people can, but normally you can see it bleep on the screen where someone's walking, and it's just phenomenal. We have a toy room that we put all these dolls and toys in, and then that gets moved around all the time. We have a little boy named Benjamin who frequents the hallways, and he's just all over the place. He gets scared at Halloween, but he comes out at Christmas just fine, and throughout the rest of the year, he's following all of us around. We think he's young. We think he's like 4 or 5, and he doesn't know how to move on. So, and I think there's a sister or a young girl there as well. We think her name is Emily or Annie, one of the two.
Emily.
And then we've got lots of ladies and lots of cowboys. Yes. And so we don't even think they're from the 1800s. We think they're from like the early 1900s. You know, when the town was going prohibition and it was going dry. I think that's where most of the activity's coming from, is that time period. It's not even coming from the old, really old, the 1800s part. It's coming from the early 1900 parts. Yeah. That's where we're getting all the stuff. The brothel women, they're active. The cowboys, they're active. Visitors coming and going. We even had a couple of visitors speaking different languages, German, Spanish. So it's just, we never know what we're going to get on any given day, but the place is active. It keeps you busy, and you're always analyzing to death, trying to analyze everything. So,
yeah, we've had some groups that have been back several times because they just can't get enough, and they get a lot of evidence and go home and analyze it, and they can't wait to come back to get more.
Nick says the dolls are just plain out scary. A lot of people have a lot of doll scares. I don't know what it is about dolls, but I love them.
He thinks that's
Dan
scary.
won't stop buying them. He keeps buying them and sticking them all over the hotel. And you never know what room you're going to go into with a doll anymore.
That's just like here at Post Town Elementary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 full rooms of dolls all over the place.
Our friend Joe Rivera has a doll room. She was actually one of the first people I knew that had a doll room at the Black Swan Inn. And ever since she put it in, we had dolls. We're just like, let's just put them in here. And then we had toys, so we just moved them in there and it ended up being a toy room. It's not really a doll room, but
people walk into our doll room / toy room, and some of them just flat out turn around, walk out, and
nope,
go, nope.
Not today. Not today, baby. Not today. So yeah, we just keep researching to find out more information about the place. We love the place. Feels like our second home, and the place wouldn't be what it is without all of our visitors. And they just keep loving on us and keep coming back. And they donate a lot of things. We have a friend named Jeremy who's donated a really cool bike to us.
Really old.
Natalie donated like 10, 12 books to us. Shannon donated money to us, and she let us sell some of her equipment. I mean, it's just everybody, we have a friend named Sharon who makes these amazing pendulums that I sell. and shout out to her, Sharon Sanderberg. And we just love all of them that come, and we miss them, and they come and they add to the wall, and we just keep going.
Yeah. We take every dollar and put it back into the building. And like Connie said, our place is about sharing. That's what the ultimate goal is to keep it around, because we want future generations to enjoy it long after we're gone. And just like Dan does with Hinsdale House, same concept. It's not about becoming rich. It's about sharing the building. Because if people saw what we pay in taxes on that building, they'd say real quick, we're not rich. It's a lot of money we pay out to the state and various things. And of course, repairs. And that's why we're very grateful for all our friends when they step up and help us do things.
I want to answer Nick's question about the ions. That's a good question. So if you have any kind of a science background, you kind of know how ions work. I'm not very good at it, but I do know one thing about what the particles are in the air. Our equipment measures when the molecules move. When the molecules move, that's how the EMF is measured. So it's reasonable to assume that if you charge ions, the molecules are going to move. It's also reasonable to think, air purifiers, they just filter air. And I think the ions are already there. I think it's just charging the molecules that are already there. And I think that we can measure that. And that's where we get the EMF detectors. That's a good question, though.
Very good question.
Very good.
Hopefully I answered it okay. Not being a science expert and all, but I'm a teacher, so we know a little bit of science. Yeah.
Nick, by the way, is coming in about 2 weeks for his first visit. So he's very excited, and he's been all over, but he hasn't seen the hotel. But they're going to see it for the first time.
Where's he from?
He's from the Abilene area, and he has a friend coming up from San Antonio.
All right.
They do a lot of stuff on YouTube, and it'd be interesting to see what they find.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're constantly looking at new equipment and trying to pioneer new ways to explore the paranormal. Dan put up a psychomantium room in the hotel with all the mirrors. I've never done that. I've never even heard of it. And I haven't gone in there yet because it's scary, but I'm going to. But we've got that up. We also have a gramophone, an actual bona fide gramophone that actually works when you turn it. And it's set up in the Seacrest sitting room. A lot of the rooms that we have are named after the people that used to live there. So we named the Seacrest sitting room after the Seacrest family. We're going to put up their pictures. We have an outlaw room going up where we're going to put stuff on Manny and all the other guys. We've got a Bonnie and Clyde room. We have the rooms upstairs are named after the previous owner's aunts and uncles. So Aunt Iona, she's Iona's Oleander Suite. Helen's Azaleas, that's the pink Victorian. Jenny's Honeysuckle Suite, which is the one with Jenny in it, the one the doll that moves around. And so we have all the rooms up there. We have the Rice Marriott Red Room. Dan made it a red brothel room. It looks amazing. Dan is an amazing decorator. I'm just telling you this right now. The man should have an interior decorator's license.
There you go.
I get good ideas, and I say, hey, let's do this. Like the presentation room, the movie room was my idea. The red room was all Dan, okay? And I said, well, I'm going to try to get one over on you. Let's do a French bordello right next to it. Of course, the ghost breaking everything, so we can't ever get that room finished. So you never know.
Wow.
And it's interesting because every time we make changes in the building to the rooms, whatever we're doing, everybody knows that sparks more paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Because the building's already transitioned. It's not like a normal building. It started off as a 2-story house, and it just kept getting added to, and now it's 10,000 square feet.
Now, we did find records that in 1900, if you look at the deed history, in 1900, they added on to it. So it was already there. But we don't know what, I think they added the concrete part on the second part. And so we know that in 1900, according to the deed history, the improvements were made in the 1900s. In 1905, they had a flood, so they lost a lot of records. And we only know the other part because of what we've been reading from the pamphlets around town. So we can recover history from 1900 on. It's the history before 1900 that kills us. We just can't get any information. So we have to go look it up in the county courthouse, go through the records of the deeds who owned it. They do have those, but it's not widely available. So that's why when someone gives us a picture or discovers something about the hotel, we freak because we have researched for years and they just did not take a lot of pictures. They have very few pictures of the hotel when it was a house.
Yeah, we think somewhere along the way somebody's going to die. They're going to go through their old trunks. And guess what? Stuff's going to pop up. And that's the day I'm waiting.
Road.
Yeah.
It's just an ongoing mystery. So, I do want to add one thing. We have a lot of psychics and good ones that come through the hotel. And most every one of them who comes in has a story that we add to the list. They also tend to charge up the place just like a battery. So when they leave, the next group that comes in is just crazy because they have charged up. We think they're using the psychic energy to charge themselves up and manifest. They tend to be more active after a psychic has come through. In the winter, for some reason, that place is crazy, crazy, crazy scary. In the summer, you get a lot of activity, but it's more comfortable. It's hot, but it's not as scary as in the winter. I don't know why. Right, Dan? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Maybe it's history events. I don't know, but it just ramps up. And in the winter, we normally don't get a lot of people, but we're getting very popular. So we're getting a lot more people that come around this time of year. This is probably our busiest February I've ever seen that we've ever had.
And I think people are looking to get out now.
Yeah. We didn't have any problems during COVID. They were lining up one after the other.
Yeah, we thought COVID 2020 we thought was going to be our worst year when everything shut down. It turned out to be our busiest year because people couldn't go to the movies. They couldn't do all these things.
Yeah.
So.
And they could bring a small group of people, not a big one.
Yeah, we had very small.
And it's 10,000 square feet, so.
Yeah, we were at the big places. We had like six people, I think.
Yeah.
So it's the same people back in, so we knew each other to take care of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as far as our future and what's on the plate for the next 10 years, I would say our goal is to keep fixing the rooms. We have the Crisco French Bordello room that we've got to fix. We've got windows we got to fix. So right now the remodeling is kind of at a standstill because we have things we have to fix structurally. So I think our focus is now shifting towards the structure part instead of the decorating part. Yeah. And so that's where we're at. We do have a donation button on our website. It's just a $10 increments. So if anybody wants to do that, thank you. If not, we appreciate you just booking a night or booking a ghost hunt, coming through, letting us give you a tour. And then there's special events that you can book there and, events. Public events are a big deal. So when you book, you just pay the $325, but you can charge $100 a head. So you can make money doing it. But we want people to love the place and just keep coming back.
Right.
So our goal is to take care of every single person that comes through and just give them the best experience that we can. And just let everybody know how much we care and how much we appreciate them. They're our family. Nick is coming. I saw him on there, and he'll be a part of our family too. Yeah. So we look forward to it.
Yeah, and we have some big events coming Saturday, May 7th. We have Kristen Lumen, Daryl Marston, and Mustafa coming from Ghost Hunters. And we're doing a Ballinger trifecta, which is going to involve 3 locations. So we're going to do a presentation in an old West town that's being made up in Ballinger. And
it's phenomenal.
Is going to be awesome.
It's beautiful. The amount of work that Jonathan has put into building that town, you would die. It's almost like it's a zoo. He's got baboons. Yeah. He's got chickens walking around. He's got fish ponds. He's got all kinds of animals that you can act with. There's places.
What's that style on?
It's called the Old West Town.
It's called Old Town Ballinger is what he's going for. but he's reconstructing an old West town.
Yeah, there's a saloon
Oh god,
and everything.
that'd be awesome.
And he's putting in a big bar.
He just told us he's putting in an arcade room.
Yeah, big
wow.
arcade. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's
It's
just
almost like a mini theme park.
yeah, and he's going to build probably 10 more old West buildings out there. And even though these are buildings that are put together, it's actually old wood that's coming from real old buildings all around the whole area.
He is a genius.
Pretty neat. Yeah.
Jonathan and his wife Kelly are geniuses. I marvel at them. I don't know how they do it. We begged them to help us build a little saloon so people could take pictures in our backyard at the Olde Park Hotel. So hopefully we'll get that someday. Just a little saloon.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Well, we want to build a mini little spot for people to come take pictures, and make it like a living history. Where people can walk through and
put the costumes on.
Yes, and we do have costumes that we do put on for special events like the ethnic event every April.
That's cool.
And a lot of people wear the costumes to the Olde Park Hotel during their investigations.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And they get lots of hits. They get lots of hits that way. Yeah.
So
we're working on that.
Now. I'll try you put dressed on hat too.
Yeah. Right? Don't do that.
Yeah.
We're just letting it keep evolving the way it wants to evolve.
Right.
Every once in a while something will appear out of thin blue, like that bed. Remember the bed, Crisco's room?
Yeah.
Dan was like, there's a bed. They just contacted us. I looked at it and said, Yep, we need to get that bed. It was a
round bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting it in there and putting a canopy above it, and it's frilly in there. But every single room has a theme. And yes, Nick, cowboys and Indians all over that place. When you see, you'll see Indian decorations, cowboy decorations on the wall everywhere. When you walk into this place, we're modernizing it, but not in the way you think. There's Wi-Fi. You can use extenders for the Wi-Fi. You can get on your laptop and use your equipment and your phone, but it is still like you walked into the Wild West. There's doors that swing that you walk through.
Doors. That's cool.
Antique furniture. Everything's antique. And we don't want to modernize it in that way. We just want to keep bringing things in to let the building mold itself. We've got a lot of rooms to do still. So, but right now we're just going to work on the structure, get the foundation problems fixed, the outside walls fixed, deal with the landscaping, and we have windows to fix from a storm. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. So again, if anyone wants to come to that event in May, that's a big one. The VIP sold out on that one. They have general admission, which is a presentation, and the ghost hunt still available. That's through Flamary Promotions. We also have another big event in July where Patty Negri's coming with Natalie Jones.
I see that.
And a bunch of other women that are coming.
That's going to be
very phenomenal.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see all of them.
Yeah, and all the VIPs sold out on that one too, I believe. And they just have a few more tickets left on that one. So we advertise all this on our Facebook page. So if anyone wants to buy tickets.
So just for dimensions, the place is 10,000 square feet. And we've got about 40 rooms, but about 10 of them are remodeled or done up where you can stay in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, heaters, but it's cold in that building. It's cold.
I have all your social information on the comments. So it'll be your website, your Facebook, Twitter, and what's the other one? Instagram.
Well, the Facebook one is the haunted Olde Park Hotel.
Yeah, Haunted Olde Park Hotel.
But we spell the word old with an E on the end of it. So you might want to look for that.
And we're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're also on TikTok. So
we have a website up as well where you can go pay for your event.
Yeah.
That Bob was scrolling anyways, Olde Park Hotel.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
The main site.
Scott, thank you for having us on tonight.
Oh, it's wonderful having you guys on. And,
great time.
Well, only been another few months after you do more reservations to get more people.
Definitely.
And more experiences. And maybe start finding more stuff out about it.
Yeah.
Boy, if the right researcher gets a hold of that place, I know that they can do good things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got to find the right researcher and one that's got all the time in the world.
Yeah. Well, it's
you,
not just out there, you know. See if they're going to be tired, be able to, you know.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions, Scott? Anything about the hotel?
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do it some way. Well, do you guys have T-shirts?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Good.
And you can order them online.
Okay.
Our T-shirt
Yeah.
guy just raised his price though. We have them online for $28, but we're probably going to have to change the price to like $30 because the shipping is $8. So
Yeah. Costs have
Couldn't
gone
have
up, so we're going to have
now
to.
at the store
research.
they're going to be 25, but online they're probably going to be like 30. But for now, we'll sell them for 28. What is listed?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if you come down, we'll hook you up and you want to ship anything to you.
Oh, sounds good.
Got to get you to come down.
Yeah, I hope we get there sometime. Maybe
Oh,
Just
and
curious.
also we have the movie room there where you can hook up your iPad. You can watch movies. We have a Blu-ray and a 10-foot movie screen. We have a full service kitchen. You can cook in there and store your stuff in the refrigerator, microwave. Just everything that we can think of. There's 4 bathrooms upstairs. 3 of them are in suites. The other one is the hallway bathroom that everybody else uses.
Mhm.
So, we just want to let everybody know that's the accommodations we have. So,
That's cool.
we're just going to keep booking.
Which one's most haunted bedroom? Is it that one or is it?
We both have our favorites. I think that the yellow room is pretty darn haunted. It's Iona's Oleander Suite, but there's one in the very back next to Bonnie and Clyde called the Clement's Calamity. And that one has that back area. Okay, in my opinion, that area is the most haunted because you've got the chair room, we call it, and the cowboy stays back there, and that's where the portal is, and it's just nuts. And then right at the top of the stairs, we get a lot of activity too. Where'd you say?
Yeah.
Dan?
The back area, when people walk upstairs, first of all, most people don't realize how big the building is. It's deceiving from the front. So when they walk in and they go up the stairs and they look all the way down that hallway, it's pretty spooky. And when you walk halfway back, you have to walk down 3 stairs to get to the back part. And as you're walking down those 3 stairs, you can really feel it.
Oh,
It just comes at you.
wow. I'll get down there somehow, some way.
The first night we stayed in the hotel overnight, Dan got woken up by a brothel woman standing right next to him. He freaked and he jumped clear across the room and landed like a cat on the other side. Yeah, it was a caressing.
I'll never forget that. It was
probably
it was-
kissing you.
It was feeling his head. It was like
Hey,
this.
hey, damn big boy.
I thought it was
Exactly.
Connie. We were laying there. I'm not going to get into the whole thing because it's kind of long, but I thought Connie was rubbing my hair when we fell asleep, and it was the first time we'd ever slept in that building. And what really freaked me out was when I opened my eyes, I was on my side facing her back,
Oh,
and she was not rubbing my head, and I was. And about that time, I was coming to, and I was like, what the heck? Am I imagining this? And then the hand rubbed my head again from behind. And as I rolled over, her face was like 14 inches from my face.
oh.
You know,
And
not
you're
everybody
that
goes to that
close.
room.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't go in that room. As a matter of fact, they
Yeah.
don't usually include it in their tour. But that room is really haunted. Our room that we stay in,
Mm.
it creeps you
Yeah.
out. I got enveloped by this black mass a couple months ago when I was in there by myself.
Yeah, she screamed.
You know how you
Ugh.
see black on black and you can tell that
Yeah.
something's there?
Black
That's
or
what happened to
black.
me. I got up to go to the bathroom and I walked around the corner and right there in front of me was this big black figure. And it was darker than the black in the room.
Mm.
That's why I knew it was there. And I couldn't respond. It was like all of the air and all of the voice
Mhm.
that I had was just rushed out of me. I was in shock. And when I tried to say something or do something, it was still there. But I went and just looked away for a second to turn on the light. And I looked back before I turned the light on, it was gone. So like talk about, you know, having the pants scared off of you.
Mm.
That's a moment, you know. We've got lots of those moments. There's been moments when, right, Dan, when they've knocked on the metal door downstairs
Oh
when
yeah.
no one else was down there. Like knock, knock, knock. We're like, what?
Yeah,
And we had that lady say hello to us, and we're like, nobody is in the building besides us.
yeah. There's some moments that just knock your socks off, and there's funny moments too. One of the funny moments is we have to wash the sheets from the bed, and we have one of those washers where you have to lift the lid to put everything in up on the top. And when you close it, the machine's going to start. Well, we'll start a load, or I'll start a load. It always gets me. And I'll go walk and I'll wait for the sheets to get done. And 20 minutes I go back and that stupid lid is up and the machine is off. And everything is just sitting there with the water inside the washer. And I'm just madder than heck when that happens.
Dan lets out this little grunt under his voice. It goes like something like this.
I lately I've been yelling at him every time it happens. I'm like, stop.
And then we've had weird electrical occurrences in our building, like weird electrical. Nothing works, and all of a sudden, and 2 hours later, everything just comes on. I don't know, maybe the wiring. I don't know. And then there's one phenomenon we had a couple times, but especially when Dustin Garrison was there once. It was in the summer, and it was just him, Dustin, and one other person. I think it was his wife. And there was just the 3 of them in the room. That night, there was an earthquake in town. I don't know if it was the earthquake, but they heard this. The lights were off. Everything was off. There was no lights on because they lost electricity. And they hear this loud boom on the floor up there at the landing. Boom. And it shook the whole landing. And it's happened more than once. The next night when another team was there, it happened again.
Yeah.
And I think Phoenix heard it too. Just last
I think she
time
did.
she was here, she mentioned that she heard a loud thump, like a body dropping on the landing. And it's a the wooden floors, so you can really hear it echo when it drops. So I don't know. We've just gotten a lot of crazy things.
One night, about 5 a.m., 4:45, a shotgun blast goes off inside the hotel, and it just woke everybody up. And the crazy thing about it is it's a big building. All the rooms are spaced around upstairs and downstairs. And everybody was saying it sounded like it was right outside their door, including me, all the way downstairs. You know, and that could have been Deacon. I don't know. Again, it was a shotgun. And it's just very spooky.
We have interesting conversations with the EMF and interesting conversations on the recorders. One of our best practices that Dan kind of developed, but I started doing it more because I don't have time to listen to weeks worth of EVPs, is he puts the speaker on. He does a 5-minute session and then puts the speaker on and plays it right there. And then sometimes within that 5-minute session, we're getting EVPs. So we know that we're getting talked to, so we'll stick around. But if it stops after about 30 minutes, if you're not getting anything, we move to another place because they're not there. They let you know in about 30 minutes if they're going to talk to you. But if you move around at different locations in the building where people wouldn't think to go and hang out, you'll be surprised about what you get. So
one of the rules we do start doing as soon as we go in, and before we even get the tour and everything, we'll put our recorders on to take along with us, because we get some stuff during our tours, during setting stuff up, and and I do. We like to put our mics on our heads there.
I like that idea. Yeah.
That
Someone needs to make a paranormal vest.
Yeah.
Someone needs to do that, please.
But
take a web belt from the military.
I wear a fisherman vest?
I need something.
And, I wear one of those.
Something that needs to happen for me because I got too much stuff I'm carrying around. You got to have a flashlight. You got to have your recorder and your EMF detector. And your other gadgets and toys that you want to take with you.
I have to walk with the king, so that helps out with me. Yeah. So helps out. You guys are awesome. We got definitely have you back.
Yeah, it's great.
Because
I mean,
It's got sort of stuff to talk about, and by the time we get back on again, it's me trip for 6 months or so by back on again,
Uh,
and then yeah,
well,
I'll talk with
I
you
think
more.
my niece came on earlier, Kendra. My niece Kendra,
Yeah.
she lives in Frisco, and she was watching us for a minute, and then Nick, who we look forward to meeting, to, is on. I don't know who else is on, but we sure appreciate you having us. And like I said, it's just the place keeps evolving, and it'll keep evolving as people come through. And the mystery is still there, and that's what people come for is the mystery.
Yeah. And, if you have us on again, by then, Nick Ross' episode will have probably come out by then, where more people, will see the place.
I'll tell you what, soon it comes out the week after I have you on.
Yeah. So, I mean, we should have a lot more to talk about, later
I'm
on
sure.
down the road. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of ghost stories. Sometimes we talk too much, and people look at us like this. And
Never
please stop
seen us.
telling us your stories.
I talk with guys forever.
Our
That's cool.
tours at the hotel run an hour, and we give a lot of background about us first, and then we talk about Graveyard Shift and how it morphed into us owning the hotel, and then we give the tour of the hotel and the history, and then we walk them around and tell them the ghost stories. So we could talk for hours about the ghost stories that we've had, but we have to think about, okay, what have we not talked about tonight? Because we have just many, many stories. The famous door slam that was caught and that was put on Fright Club, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Dan was by himself.
Yeah, it shook the whole building when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was mad, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was very mad. Yeah.
That was the same day that Jeanette's granddaughter was having a memorial service for her death. Same day. And it was about the same time. We found out later that was the room that her and her brother Preston and her sister Felicia used to play in. They used to fight over the room.
Yeah.
So it's just the stuff that we find out. We appreciate and respect the Keel family so much. And they're friends of ours on the Facebook, but anytime they say something, we always add that to our history, so we can add more to what's going on. We couldn't get everything we could from Jeanette at the time, but maybe we can still talk to her sister April and get some more information and get some more pictures.
Maybe it'd be awesome.
Looks like Dan froze. There you go.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah. Kind of looking like a ghost.
Yep.
Well,
We're just gonna keep fixing up the place. So and as people come through, we get more adventures. Yep.
And keep hosting. I'll check in with you guys every once in a while too.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Yeah.
We look forward to it. We
sure.
enjoyed talking to you tonight. Love your
great being on.
background.
Yeah.
We'll tell people to watch your show, and we'll keep in touch.
You think Wednesday's
Just come
kind
see
of
us
hard
at
to
the
get
Old
people
Park
on,
Hotel.
but we just get a lot of views afterward. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well-
sure a lot of people come on and look at it afterwards as well.
yeah. Okay, sounds good. So
All right.
you guys have a good evening and happy horning, everyone.
Yes, happy hunting.
Happy hunting.
Bye bye.